Hello and welcome back to me and my screwdriver, the only channel, unironically, that's going to be ranking every single season 1 Marooned contestants gameplay. So I'm recording the same day as the last video that I uploaded. I don't know if I'm going to upload this today. I might just wait tomorrow so that I don't do 2 uploads in one day, because I always think it's weird when like YouTubers do that. But I digress. I want to just rank every season 1 contestant based on how well they played. Mainly because I just really like Marooned, and I want to just have like an excuse to talk about it. Obviously spoilers if you've not watched the show. And I'm just gonna. I don't know how long this is gonna be. I can probably yap for ages about these guys. I will say I might forget some things. I did watch the show very recently. I watched it like twice this season. I still am probably gonna forget a few things. So if I do rank someone like low because they like, I just forget like a massive play they did, or I rank someone too high because like maybe I miscredit them for something or just whatever, I'm sorry. You know, it is what it is. So first of all, we've got Jen. Jen is Jen is very difficult to rank. It's always difficult to rank people who leave early because you don't really get to see much of their strategy. However, I can say confidently, I think that Jen probably actively played a bad game. I liked Jen. I wanted her to return at the comeback challenge because I think she did have like potential. However, from what we saw, right, she didn't really bond well with her teammates, and I don't think, apart from like Joseph, who even then I would say Joseph went up to her, she didn't really make an attempt to fix that. And that's really what got her out. She didn't really make an effort to fix the fact that people just didn't really like her, and that is kind of a shame. I will say she was pretty good at challenges, and I mean, she said she like ran like a lot of marathons. I think if she made it a bit further, maybe like 1 or 2 episodes further, I could say, okay, she did well at challenges and could probably move her up to here. But based on what we have, she didn't really have like, again, apart from Joe, she didn't really have any like allies. She didn't really like do a good job socially. Again, didn't see enough of her challenge performance. I don't know if she'd be good at like puzzles, you know. I think just overall, Jen, I can't really say anything positive about. However, that's probably just because she got voted early, unfortunately. Second, I've got Champagne. She actually made it to the finale. She came back, obviously. And I'm, I, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know. Champagne's very weird because I feel like Champagne did do stuff. I just also don't think she did. I think I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna for now just put her in didn't do much bad, but not much good. I am gonna talk, right? And then I'll probably like change it. But I think just like off of, like memory, I'll remember things as I talk. Off of just like sheer memory, I'm gonna say didn't do much bad, but not much good. Champagne, she did make like some pretty strong bonds early on. However, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like everyone did. There's not many people I would say, oh, like, no one liked them, you know. And so when I say, oh, she made strong bonds, it's like, yeah, but is that really anything special? We've got to like keep in mind, Champagne made it to the finale, so I just don't think she did anything to set herself apart, right? Granted, yeah, she was in like, you know, she was in basically the alliance of like Nose, Jimmy, all that, and you could say, well, that was a smart play because it did, you know, it was a very successful alliance. But she did also branch out to Paige, and Kat kind of was also on the out. Kat was like kind of awesome, but then again, Kat was also in that position where she was in Jimmy's alliance and all that, but also was friends with like Paige and like Champagne. So I would say Kat did the same exact thing. I feel like Champagne just played too similarly to other people without doing anything to set herself apart. I just off the top of my head, I cannot think. She won the first merge challenge, but that's really all I can say she did that was really notable. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I don't doubt she did do some things, but if I can't remember them, if I can't remember a single thing she did, I think that does say like something about her game to a degree. Um, Next we've got Setu. Setu, it's really difficult with these people that got like voted out really early. Setu kind of just was there, and I can't really say. I think he did make some good bonds. I believe so. It was Jen, Setu, Dejan. I'm just trying to like recap the team. God, why can't I remember your name? I'm gonna go Annie. I don't actually know if that's her name. Nose and Joe. I think Setu did make like good bonds. I feel like his name got thrown out there and he just didn't do anything about it. He kind of just like was voted off and just kind of like accepted it. He didn't really. I don't think he really did anything to try and like save himself. And I think that's kind of just like, okay, that's not a good game then, is it? You know. I think he was fine. He wasn't even like that good at challenges. I really liked Setu. He was a great guy. I was rooting for him. It's a similar boat as like Jen, where it's like I was rooting for them. I wanted them to do well, but I have to admit they did not play a good game. I think it was a bad game. Chad, on the other hand, is genuinely quite interesting. On the surface, right, Chad, he played an awful game. He didn't make many bonds, and he literally just didn't talk to people, especially when he got like moved tribes. He played awfully on paper. But you have to take into consideration, Chad also had the challenge factor for him. He was he was really good at physical challenges because he was just a strong guy. I'm gonna be honest, if you ask me, I think the Pink Tribe should have just kept around Chad simply because of his challenge performance. I get it, right? He didn't make many bonds. He didn't really have that alliance, you know, and he was gunning for Cat, which is kind of which again I would say I think him trying to like get him, Marcus, and Jimmy on either Bree or Cat during like before the team swap, that wasn't a bad move. You could argue like his reasoning for doing it was a bit but at the end of the day, Bree and Cat, they were like pretty tight. They like immediately like did start to bond. And so like him trying to like separate that wasn't an awful idea, you know. And he did bond well with Marcus and somewhat Jimmy, you know. Like it's not that he didn't not make bonds, you know. And I think again I think he was trying like kind of like relying on the fact he's good at challenges, physical challenges, to try and like keep him afloat. And I don't think that was like a bad thing to bank on, considering like the position, like the team he was on, who themselves admitted were not that great physically. So I'm gonna be honest, I feel pretty confident putting Chad as like an alright game. I feel like he didn't make it far, but I feel relatively confident saying he played an alright game. You know, like he didn't do as awful as I would say he did. Just like looking at like face value. Oh god, no! I know your name. Oh fuck! I'm so bad with names. I feel really bad. It was like it was a short name. It was a short name. It wasn't Noah. Oh shit. Carl. It was Carl. I don't know where I got Noah from. Carl. I remember that because everyone was calling him like Hot Carl. Carl is very interesting because he himself knew he wasn't a good social player. Which on paper you look at that and you're like, oh okay, he's not a good social player. He's not gonna make very good alliances. He's fucked. But I would honestly disagree. I feel like there's a difference between not being a good social player and knowing you're not a good social player and then playing around that, which he did fantastically. He played his idol like his first tribal council they went to. He played his idol because he knew full well he didn't bond with people, and so he like he worked around that. He worked around that idea that he didn't really bond well with people. He did try to bond with Paige, like maybe from like a not really like probably not like personally, but more from like a strategic angle, he did try to like befriend Paige. Saying Carl had like a bad game just because he didn't make many friends is a bit. I feel like when he did start to slip though was during the tribe swap, where I feel like at that point, while he did still like try to work with Paige, he didn't really branch out. I think he did have a chance with like new people coming over, maybe trying to talk to Kat. If he could make like an alliance with like Kat and Paige and get them free, that could sway like Joe and Champagne, and I feel like Hunter would have been out before him. But I mean, overall, I feel like he kind of like outweighs each other. You know, like he played well before the team swap, but then after the team swap, he kind of just was like, eh. So Argo didn't do much bad, but not much good. Hunter. Hunter is very interesting. Because I feel like on my first watch, I was like, okay, Hunter. As much as I love the guy, because you know, it's like his own channel. As much as I love the guy, he didn't do all that much, right? But then on second watch, I was like, no, this guy's actually kind of not that bad. He he played an immaculate social game, honestly. Um, like admittedly, yeah, Joe, Paige, and Cat and Champagne. Yeah, he was on the outs in the sense that like they were the main alliance and he wasn't in it. But it's not like he didn't bond with them. He was on good terms with those four. Maybe like apart from Joe, because he did write his name once. Apart from that, he was on good terms with all like that entire alliance. And so it just kind of sucks that like it was such a big alliance. They just like that tribe kept losing. It wasn't really on him, and I mean he was very clearly a social threat. That's why he was voted off. Um, I think really where he like went wrong is he just seemed to have this like sort of like vendetta against Carl in a way, where like he didn't want to vote. He didn't want to like try and work with Carl, which I think he very easily could have. They both knew they were on the outs. I feel like Hunter Carl could have like tried to like sway Paige, you know, like Joe. I think Joe was like a pretty big threat at that point. I feel like could have swayed them there. I feel like they could. I just feel like they could have tried a lot more, you know. What I will say, I think Hunter did very well. Was he, as far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure he made up the plan to send the note over to Lachesis, Jimmy and Nick to be specific, to say, hey, Ainsley. Is it? No, it's not Ainsley. Why am I getting Ainsley so? I'm gonna say Amy. I don't think it is Amy. I'm completely blanking on her name. It's literally. I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna stop recording and I'm gonna like just immediately get the name again. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna say Amy. And I'm gonna pray that's correct. Saying, hey, Amy might have an idol. She's threatening. You should, Nick, Jimmy, and all that. They should work with her. And that, while obviously like they tried to like get them to throw the challenge, and they gave them the letter after the challenge. While on paper it's like, okay, they fucked up massively. When you really think about it, I don't think she would have been eliminated first merge if it wasn't for Hunter giving that note. Sure, it didn't really benefit his game, but I think it's very important to note that he did have a very big impact on the game. Because if she made it past that first vote, it'd probably be Nick going. You know, and Nick is like a very good player, you know, like him being like the first merge, we would have changed everything. I feel like Nose and again I'm gonna say Amy, I don't know if it's correct, would have like done like really well making it to the end. You know, so many things would have changed. So what it didn't, I don't want to. He's not fantastic strategy. I'm gonna order them. I feel like Carl. I think Champagne did play a good social game. I think I gave her a little bit too little credit. Is it enough to bump her up? It feels weird putting up below Chad. I think I'll just see like how many people go into each tier and I'll like bump her up from there. I think Setu. I think Jen. No, Setu played a better game than Jen. So it goes like Jen, Setu, Carl, Champagne, Chad, Hunter. Which Chad is surprisingly high. Jesus Christ. So now we move on to the merge. Again, I'm gonna call her Amy. I don't know if that's correct. Is it Ainsley? That feels like such like a random like rare name that I've pulled out my arse to the point where it has to be correct. I'm just gonna say Amy. I feel like Amy sounds right. but it also is it. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna stop talking. I suck with names. Um, See, it's very difficult, right? Because like she in her during her tribe, it was like she got out Jen, she got out Setu. There's no denying that. However, I don't think she got. I wouldn't say she got them out because she was like such a great strategist. I think she more got them out because she just like said their name over and over again. It's like the like yelling loud doesn't mean you win the argument, except it's like flipped on its head. You know what I'm saying? Like she just kind of put their names out so much to the point where people were just kind of like, okay, fine, we'll do it. No one else really wanted to throw out names at the team phase. It felt like, and so when she did, it kind of just like ended up working out. And I feel like that confidence does kind of boost her a little bit. When she made merge, that's where she really lost me though. I think I think it was really stupid to try and like get people voting for Marcus when everyone knew Marcus had an idol that he had to play that round. Like she was trying to say like don't play it, save it as like a fake idol when everyone knows about his idol. Oh actually wait, Hunter did hold on, Hunter did like say, and Setu didn't say his idol. He didn't like reveal his idol. Hunter did. Sorry, I'm going back to my other points. Hunter did reveal his idol. That doesn't put him below Chad though. It'll put him below some other people, I reckon. But sorry, just that Marcus vote. Trying to paint out Marcus was so dumb. I feel like she could have very easily tried to paint it on just like really anyone else. I feel like if she just did something like, I don't know, Joe, Cat, Paige, and Champagne. They're the only four from over there. We may as well just pick them off one by one. That would have a better chance at working than painting out a Marcus. Only to then vote for. Wait, did she vote? No, she did. She did vote for Marcus, right? Or did she vote for Nick in the end? I can't remember. I know Bree voted for Nick. I can't remember if she did. But either way, I just think it was a really dumb way to try and save herself. And I think for that, I feel like taken into teams, I think she's like here. Taken into consideration like the pre-team phase. Going into March, like that puts her down a lot for me. I'm gonna put her like below Carl, honestly. Because we also have to like think like she scrambled around so much. She jumped from like everyone basically saying a name. That works well in the team phase where it's like not many people to like handle. When you've got like what's it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 10 people, and you're trying to like pitch the same name to every single one. It's just never gonna go well. I almost want to put her in actively played a bad game, but I think her confidence in the team phase does give her a bit of a boost. Marcus, on the other hand, Marcus is very interesting, right? Marcus is very interesting because I think the guy did bond really well with a lot of very good people to bond with. He bonded well with Nose, he bonded well with Jimmy, and those, if you ask me, were two of the most influential people in the game, especially early merge. Those two, they pitch a name, that person's likely getting out, so being friends with them two is a huge thing. I just think he kind of like, I don't know, he was safe for like every single round until his elimination round, which kind of does say a lot that he got voted off basically immediately. I feel like people said he was annoying. I feel like that's, I don't attribute that to bad social game. I attribute that to just like difference in people, because to me I didn't think he was all that annoying from like the screen time. Maybe he was different on like set, I don't know, but to me Marcus seemed fine as like a person. That's just like, I think that's just like unlucky set of people if that many people are calling him annoying, if I'm being entirely honest. I just think overall Marcus, I think he goes, I don't know, because I want to say he didn't do much bad, but then when he like started to scramble final 10, that is what got him out. He would have been safe if he just didn't say anything. And he did also reveal his idol to like everyone. I think I'm gonna say actively played a bad game. I think I'm gonna like move him, like put him down there. His social game was pretty good. No, I think his social game was good enough to put him like low end of didn't do much bad, but not much good. With how things are shaping up, I might just move Champagne up. Just like alright game, because I think I did like undermine her social game, to be entirely fair. So I'll put her in alright game. Bree. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Bree played a good game. I think she played one of the worst games to people who made Merge, if I'm being entirely honest. What really stands out to me is one of her confessionals where she's like, I guess you can't trust anyone here. When she pitched votes to Joe. But the people she pitched were people he was just on a tribe with. So obviously he's gonna like probably say something. There were 4 people who made it out of that like past tribe. There is a very good shot he was like pretty good friends with them. I don't know what she was doing. Was it Joe or Kat? It might have been Kat. I think it was Kat, and she pitched Joe and Paige's name. I don't know why she'd do that. I think that was just a stupid thing to do. And when it got to the point of like her, I think she said that, and she didn't have a way to get out of it. You know, like she couldn't lie out of it. I do think she made some good social bonds. However, with how badly she played that, I think making that alliance with Kat, and then like as soon as Merge hits, being like, okay, we should vote out the 2 people who you've just been on a tribe with and barely survived out of. That was just not a great play at all. And then I think she went for like Nose for some reason, which I feel like out of all people going for Nose, especially at this point in the game where Nose and Jimmy were basically running the show, was just not a good play in the slight. I'm sorry, but Bree. Setu at least had like some decent social game. No, Bree had some good social game. I'll put Bree there. I don't think she played well at all, if I'm being entirely honest. Next though, Joseph. Joseph immediately goes into fantastic strategy for me. Going onto that tribe and immediately bonding with Cat, Paige, and Champagne. That to me is immediately like, okay, this guy's a good player. He had no bonds with them previously. Just immediately got in there. Was like, okay, we're making an alliance basically, and that was just like, that's basically what like made him last all the way to the merge. Which, speaking of, you could argue that winning like I think it was 2 or 3 immunities in a row, yeah, that put a target on his back, and that is true. But at the same time, I think just being able that just showed that he was a very good person during the team phase as well. As much as like their team kept losing, Joseph was definitely the person who like at times was the one who was like, okay, this guy could pull out the win for them. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he was a great team player. He made great alliances. He made some really good bonds in the merge. He even like I think bonding with Jen was like, as much as Jen was like the first boot, that was a great call. You know, bonding with the person who everyone's kind of like outcasting. That to me is just a fantastic way to play the game. You know, because like as weird as it sounds, they're desperate. You know, so it's kind of like, yeah, they're probably gonna side with you, you know? And I feel like that is, you know, like what he was thinking, and it worked out well. The only thing stopping him from being in, like, Mastermind for me is he was way too paranoid about an idol play in the, Pink Tribe, which I don't blame him, right? At the end of the day, Carl had, you know, successfully played an idol already. There's a good shot he's going to do it again. There's a good shot Hunter knows he's the next one out, you know, all that kind of shit, right? My issue is when he throws, like, a vote on Paige. I think he threw a vote on... I might throw a vote on someone else, I don't remember. But I think throwing that vote on Paige, if I'm being entirely honest, that's what, like, caused him to get out, if you ask me. I'm pretty sure Paige voted for him in the merge, in his elimination. Him like throwing that vote on Paige like completely destroyed that trust and like completely messed him up. And so that's what stops me personally from putting him in a Mastermind. Going on to Nose, I think Nose is in a very weirdly enough, Nose is in a very similar boat to Hunter, where he played a fantastic social game. However, you'll notice Nose placed a lot higher than Hunter. So I think while that does, I do attribute that to the fact that I don't think he ever was up for elimination during the team phase. Yeah, that will do it. That will definitely make him make merge, But at the same time, like I think even then, I think Nose made so many bonds in the team phase. Like he was bonding with the person I don't remember the name of. He bonded with Marcus. He bonded with Jimmy. He was pretty good friends with Nick, Dejan. He bonded with everyone on that team to the point where I don't think they would be like, okay, we need to get him out because he's like a social threat. I just don't see a world where they would have done that. And then even when we go into like the merge phase, he continues to build out those like social bonds and bonds with Champagne. I think what Nose did what people were scared Hunter were going to do. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the only thing I want to put him in Fantastic Strategy, like bottom of Fantastic Strategy. I am going to put him in Alright Game because I feel like he didn't make enough plays for himself. I feel like a lot of like his votes were just like, okay, Jimmy told me to do it. You know what I'm saying? The Alliance agreed to do it. He never like, and obviously you don't always have to play like a betraying game, but it was like Final 7, and there was this massive alliance. There's a good shot he doesn't make the finale. I feel like Nose never like really considering betraying that alliance is really what fucked him up. And so, as much as I love the guy, he's funny as shit. I love Nose. I feel like he barely misses out on Fantastic Strategy. Who doesn't miss out on Fantastic Strategy though is Cat. Cat. I don't know. Actually, do I put? I'm gonna talk about Cat, and then I'll decide if they're above Joseph or not. For starters, Cat in the pre-team swap team phase made bonds with Bree and Jimmy. That immediately solidifies that if they ever go to a tribal, they're not going, especially like considering how loyal those two people were. She made great friends, great bonds with them, right? Going into the next bit, like she did a very similar thing to Joe, where she didn't know Paige, she didn't know Champagne, she didn't know Joe, but immediately like gravitated towards them and did create that alliance, which was obviously very successful. So that to me is like very is also like really good. Going into the merge, I think she made the right play sticking with Jimmy. She has a similar issue to Nose, where it's like I don't think she did enough for herself. However, I will say what I think separates them is when Kat made the final 6, she knew that's when she had to just drop Jimmy. You could say it's because the consensus at the time was Jimmy, and that kind of like led to her, like going towards that decision. I would also just say Kat's a strong player, a smart player, and so she just kind of knew like, okay, Jimmy's got to go here. And I think what also like kind of solidifies that she was a good player, she was only voted off because of idle paranoia. I believe it was, I'm trying to remember this correctly, Jimmy voted for Nick, Paige voted for Kat because of idle paranoia, Kat voted for Jimmy, Champagne voted for Jimmy, I think, right? Either Nick or Dejan voted for Jimmy / Kat, one of the two, right? Or yeah, Kat. And Paige's idle paranoia, that's what got Kat out. It wasn't a strategic move. It wasn't like a massive blindside. It was just idle paranoia. And I think that was just unfortunate for her, because if she made it past that vote, she's got Paige, Champagne. That is 3 people in like a final 5 situation that they're very close with. Obviously, one of them's probably gonna like turn on the other. I don't think Kat would be the one that'd be turned on. I think honestly it would have probably been Paige. I think both Kat and Champagne would realise Paige has a lot more going for her when it comes to the final 3. And I think Kat would have eventually. I think the finale would be very similar, but it would be Kat instead of Paige if she made it past this vote. She got screwed over out of paranoia. I don't think she has like. I think Joe's just like winning like so many immunities. I think that does like show to me that he was a very good challenge player, and I think that does put him over Kat. Kat wasn't awful at challenges or anything. I just think that like she didn't really have that like exceptional moment, if you know what I mean, right? So I think I'm gonna put Kat just below Joseph. It's very close though, because obviously they in a way did play similar games. Although I do say that, but I don't think Kat really did much to like break Paige's trust and all that compared to Joey. You know, ooh. I'm gonna keep that as it is. I'm gonna keep it as it is. Maybe I'll ponder in it while I'm talking about Jimmy. Jimmy, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know where else to put him. He, I genuinely, I don't think I can put him anywhere else apart from Mastermind, because there's no denying that he was right. This guy played such a great social game to the point where he had Nose, Cat, Paige, Champagne, all these people's votes. Obviously, maybe not Paige necessarily, but I think Champagne, like so many Breeze, so many arguably Marcus's. He kind of went rogue, so maybe not. He had so many people's votes, and he only he was so close to getting away with it. He only really got screwed over because Dijon played his idol. And what really, I think I would put him in Fantastic Strategy, but what really gives him that like extra boost is he won the immunity challenge when Nose got eliminated. Now you could say, oh, it's just dumb luck. He got the immunity challenge, whatever. I think he was playing really hard that challenge, especially hard, especially considering his past challenge performances, which weren't. Well, he did great in the endurance during the team phase. In the actual merge, he was not an exceptional player. He was kind of just like goofing around in a lot of challenges. And I think that was on purpose. I think he didn't want to be perceived as a challenge threat. So when he knew he needed to win immunity, he won immunity. You could say I'm giving him a little bit too much credit because there definitely is like a possibility. I don't think I am. I think Jimmy's a very smart player. Him hiding that he knows so much about Survivor and that he literally competed on other shit like this was also just a great strategic move. There's like very few reasonings for why he shouldn't be in like the top tier. Next we have Nick. Nick kind of has, as I just talked about Jimmy. Jimmy did very well when it came to like winning immunities at the right time. I think Nick had the opposite issue. I think Nick won way too many immunities for his own good, Obviously Nick, got some votes at times. I don't think there was ever a point where it was like the vote was Nick. There was really never a point in the merge apart from Final Four when the vote was Nick. And so that's really the only thing that I'm saying that's not giving him a mastermind. Apart from that though, played a very good social game, made friends with Paige. On the other tribe, he was the only person from the pink team, and so it was like 3-3-1. And so I think, obviously, they didn't go to a vote. It's very difficult to tell how well that Laxus tribe really did play during the team phase, because for like most of the rounds they just weren't having to vote, which is really annoying if I'm being honest, but is what it is. I feel like he would have 100% been able to pick one side and then boot someone off. He wouldn't be in any danger during the team phase. You could say he got lucky with that positioning, which, yeah, kind of, but it is what it is. He also was part of, Dijon's, quest, we'll call it, to get rid of, Jimmy and that entire alliance, and obviously he was successful. He played a very similar game to Dijon, who obviously ended up winning, so that does say a lot about how good Nick is. I really think the only thing that separated Nick and Dijon's game was Nick's, challenge capabilities. Dijon was also really good at challenges. I'm not going to say that's not the case. I think Nick won more individual immunities, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. They might have had an equal amount. I think his overall challenge performance was also just if you looked at like his like placements in every single challenge, he'd probably be better. Just like averaged. But I think that did like kind of bite him in the ass. He just like that challenge capability. He would have like won a jury vote because of that. I think over Dijon. It was also, I would say he also had like a bit better social game, a little bit. So I think he did make a bit of a threat for himself. And now I'm saying that yeah, I'm moving Joe down. I'm moving Joe down a slot because of what I'm saying now. And so I think Nick just barely missed out on Mastermind. Paige. Oh, I need to think about Paige. I need to think about Paige a lot. I think something that really stands out for me for Paige is the fact that she like did like try to bond with Carl. Like I mentioned with Hunter, I feel like one of his biggest mistakes was not trying to reach out to Carl when they were both on the outs to try and like get into Paige as well, you know, and like them three like vote someone off, something like that. Paige did bond with Carl, who was on the outs, and that just gave her like an extra like layer of safety when it came to a vote. Because obviously, you know, Carl had the immunity idol. He got to pick who was out. Obviously, he picked Champagne. If he didn't have that bond with Paige, though, I mean, it could have been her. It could have been anyone, really. He didn't. I think he just kind of picked Champagne because why not? It could have been really anyone going there, and so Paige making that bond with him did solidify it wasn't her, and it was, you know, someone else on the tribe. I think, as I've said with like Joe, Kat, and Champagne, going into the next tribe, and they played very well. They made like a very strong alliance. I would say if I had anything to say like a bit wrong there, obviously I said this was a bad thing for Joe's game, but it's also kind of a bad thing for Paige's game. I think Paige should have been a little bit more understanding for Joe voting, like placing his vote on her, because at the end of the day, right, no matter who Joe placed his vote on, it was going to be a member of their alliance, and I think they would all kind of be a bit annoyed. So it was kind of a thing where like he had to pick someone, and he just ended up picking like Paige. I don't think it was like a personal thing. It was just okay, Paige, whatever. And so that did kind of like, you know, suck for him. Going into the next bit, the merge. Again, Paige. There's not really much to say. Paige just played a very good social game. She voted correct every single vote, if I remember correctly, which does say that she always knew what like she had like a lot of information. She knew everything. Like she knew how people were voting. She knew what was going on at most times. You know, that was like fantastic. Her idol paranoia did really like end up like kind of messing her up in like final six. I think she would have made. I think she would have made finale either way. No, I don't know. I think the idol paranoia, while it might have benefited her in a way, I think it's also just like, why would you take that risk in a sense? You know what I'm saying? Paige did not win a single individual immunity, which is definitely something where I'm like, ooh, okay, that's kind of rough actually, because you know, obviously that's a bit like of a thing where it's like, yeah, dang, she didn't win a single immunity. That's kind of showing that when it came to competitions, she probably wasn't the best, you know? It kind of shows maybe, you know, maybe I don't want to like put the blame on her for like losing like the her team's like challenges. I think that entire tribe was just like completely outmatched by the other one. But it could show, you know, again, it's not. Again, I don't want to say it's like all her fault, but like she played a big part in it, you know. And so I think for that, I'm gonna put her. Her and Kat played very similar games. I think for me, I think Paige played a little bit better. I think branching out to Carl did actually like give her a massive boost. And actually, speaking of Carl, I have just realised, if I'm remembering correctly, Carl is the only person in this entire game to play an idol correctly. Marcus played his idol. There were no real votes on him, you know, because he told everyone. Dejan played his idol. While I think it was smart to play the idol, I would have done the same. He only received 2 votes compared to Nose's 3 in the final 7. And we'll talk about. I know I'm jumping to like Dejan early, but I'm trying to like make this point. That I feel like, and I know it's like a situation where it's like, and Carl was kind of the obvious vote. I don't know. I think that bumps Carl up for me a spot, and that does unfortunately mean that I'm gonna just move Champagne down a little bit, mainly just to make the tier list look a little bit nicer, if I'm being entirely honest. But with that all being said, look, I know it's like the boring thing to say, oh, the winner had the best game, but for fuck's sake, it's... Who are we kidding here? Dejan played the best game. I don't think I need to argue this point. Dejan, he sat there like taking in all the information he needed. He didn't make a big play until he like really needed to, and he picked the perfect time to strike. Final 7, he exposes everything of like Jimmy knows. He makes it like more known. And he has an idol, so he knows he's safe doing that. Oh, Paige. I'm sorry, I forgot Paige also had an idol. It was Kat who also had an idol. She played it incorrectly as well. Sorry, I just remembered she had an idol as well. I just needed to like say that out loud. And then Dejan, like, he just won immunity when he needed it. He won immunity final 4. He won immunity, I believe, final 6, when it could have been very easily. People realize he's going to be a massive, threat when it comes to the jury because of like how he's played the game. I feel like I think Jimmy would have won that challenge if it wasn't Dejan who won it. So I feel like Dejan won the challenges exactly when he needed to, at the exact right times. He also did take the fate into his own hands when it came to the start, which, I mean, it's not really a strategic thing, but it did show to me like this guy's confident. He knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Jury. I've not really talked about like the finalists when it came to their like jury speeches. I think Champagne. Oh wait, Champagne's was sorry. I completely forgot about jury speeches. Champagne had a very emotional one, which I feel like was a very smart play. I think I'm not moving Champagne up. I'm not going to move Champagne up for it because I feel like her claim that like Dejan wasn't a voted Nick without her, her saying that and then Dejan being like that's not true, I think that did like lose some people when it came to like if they would vote her or not. Paige was just very good. I think she still stays like same place. Dejan's speech, he did what I think he mixed Paige's and Champagne's, right? Dejan took that emotion of him being like like a minority when it came to like everyone else here. He took the emotion from that and like that Champagne kind of had, that emotion from the speech, and then also talked about all his achievements when it came to the actual like strategic game. He did a fantastic job when it came to like his speech. His speech was insane. There's no other way to really describe it. I think it's very clear why he won. And like the votes were like it wasn't even close. When the votes aren't even close, that's when you kind of know. Okay, yeah, the speech was kind of fucking great. And I think that's really all I have to say. I know I've kind of just said Dejan also made like some very good he was very good socially as well. I feel like I need to say that. Overall, just Dejan, insanely good player. And I think this is my list. I'm gonna just go. I think, are there any revisions I want to make? Brie did place a vote on Nick, just in case she did have an idol, because she knew that she did throw her name out, and then being able to pin that on I'll move Brie up. I'll move Brie up as well. I think that was actually quite huge. I'm pretty fine having Marcus here then. No, you know what? No, I'll keep. Yeah, there we go. Now it looks all even. I feel so bad for these two. It's just because they were the first few boots. It's really unfortunate. They were basically the first 2 boots because Champagne did come back and became a finalist. Happy with this. Happy with you here. Happy with you here. Happy with you here. It feels really weird having Chad here, but I am happy with it. Hunter, I'm happy with you here. Nose, I'm happy with you here. Joe, I'm happy with you here. Cat, Page, happy with you two here. Nick, I think I'm happy with you here. Jimmy, yeah, okay. I think I need to be grammatically correct, masterminds. And so that is my ranking of every single contestant from season 1 of Maroon's gameplay. I'm gonna do this for season 2, probably tomorrow. I might do it where I like compare them, so I just add like the season 2 contestants to this tier list, and then use this tier list and just like make it with that, and kind of like see like maybe I'll like do a little like mathematics session where I like calculate the average. Although now that I think about it, that would probably take me like 5 minutes to calculate the average, because I'd have to like oh no, that doesn't sound fun actually. That's like 32. Fucking hell, no thanks. I'm good. Maybe I won't do it. Maybe I'll do it in like the description of the video or something. I don't know. But anyways, I'll do season 2s soon. Let me know if you I feel like I'm saying let me know if you agree or disagree. But I feel like not many people have watched Maroon, so this is like a really weird video to make, right? Because I feel like I'm gonna be the only person who knows what I'm fucking talking about. You know, no one's gonna really understand. Oh well, I'm having fun doing this. Who cares? This will be my worst performing video, but who cares, man? Yeah, if you have watched Marooned and you're watching this, definitely let me know what you think. I know I've definitely got some like maybe disagreeable takes. I think Chad is a major one. Maybe Champagne being quite low, but I don't know. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to become a little screw that I'll use to build my next table with. And I mean, with that, fucking see ya.